What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lauriello. Guys, I've got another banger episode for you this week. We've been rolling them out like it's been just a crazy week. So excited to roll them out for our 1 year anniversary and just get you guys some super quality episodes. Guys, I'm bringing you today the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Johen DeLeon. I have been so excited. I've been trying to get this conversation going with Johen since I had Cade on the podcast, and since really Joan showed up to A-Basin last year and whooped some ass. I absolutely love the style and attitude of this kid. Like, he's one of my favorite people in the sport now. And just after one conversation, it's just a genuinely cool human. Like I said, Joan probably is best known for last year showing up to Cirque Series A-Basin and getting second place and beating some really heavy hitters in our sport of sub ultra. But even more so, I think Joan's more well known for just being a really kind, caring, and awesome human in his community. Just like what he's done for his community and the people around him, just saying his praises. He's just a really inspiring, really cool guy. We talked a lot. We talked about he was, when we had this conversation, he was just getting ready for Big Alta. He actually just took third place in the 28K this past weekend at the Big Alta, which is pretty exciting. So the fitness is definitely showing there. We talked about, he kind of rolled out the idea of his new Satisfy deal, which is pretty exciting, which was just dropped and unveiled last week as well. It was a great episode, a really fun, just getting to know Johen and just having a sweet conversation with him. How can you not root for somebody like this? Like I said, just one of the most genuine people I think I've ever had on the podcast, a really cool guy. So hope you enjoy this one. Definitely mattered and meant a lot to me. And I'm so excited for where Johen's future is going to take him. So without further ado, Johen DeLeon.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
People, Earth, listen up. It is March, guys, and I am so excited that Ultimate Direction is finally unveiling their new vest lineup for 2025. Head on over to ultimatedirection.com to check out the new Race Vest 6-liter and Ultra Vest 12-liter. They're going to be coming at you in two beautiful aesthetic colors, the onyx and green, as well as the white and blue. Guys, I absolutely love these. I've been playing around in these products for months and months now. You might have seen Tara Warren last year running in both the Ultra and Race Vest, as she absolutely smashed it in the Rocky Mountain Slam. Guys, this is a very durable, solid product that I absolutely love. Like I said, the color wheels are beautiful, and this is something I think you're going to be really looking at as you start to put together your race calendars. You're going to need some dependable gear for 2025. So this is definitely something to turn your head toward. Hop on ultimatedirection.com right now. Use code SteepStuffPod for 25% off your cart. Again, like I said, use code SteepStuffPod. Treat yourself to one of these. I think you guys are going to love them. I'd love to hear your feedback. Let me know what you think. Enjoy. Johen DeLeon, welcome to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How are you, man?
Good, man. Just chilling, enjoying life,
Yeah.
Good vibes going on right now. So, just enjoying the day.
How's your day going, man?
It's going good, man. I got up, slow morning because it's my day off, but we've been having some recently good snow, and so kind of just been getting some PAL turns in, which is really, really sick. I'm kind of starting to chill on the skiing now that running's ramping up, but when it's snowing, man, I got to get out there, so this is a good day.
Are you do you do more skimo, or are you a backcountry guy? What's your style of ski?
So I tore a little bit. I don't have like the craziest Ivy education, you know. I did a lot of like, I mean, actually, it's kind of funny enough. I actually taught myself how to ski by doing uphill. So like, I wouldn't consider myself like a ski mo guy, but you know, I do the uphill every now and then do that around. But mostly just hit the hill like downhill. You know, like a lot of my homies at work are really, really, really good skiers. So you know, it's like it's always a cool opportunity and just to get out there with them as much as I can. So kind of just enjoy it.
Yeah, man. What's it like living in like the Crested Butte area with all those like, I mean, cams in that area? Like, there's so many like world class skiers and just mountain athletes in general.
You know, it's actually crazy because like there's like the people that stick around in the valley that are for so long. For example, like the Grand Traverse, like obviously it's like a known race that's here, and like those old heads that have been doing it for since the first one, you know, like they have this crazy, just like crazy mountain culture, and these folks just kind of like live on the skis, you know, in the backcountry, you know, and they do their thing. So there's always like there's some crazy hammerheads out here. Like obviously there's Cam, but there's a lot of other like low key dudes, you know, that even go to Western that are on the skimo team that are really really nice with it, you know. So in the wintertime, it's like it's crazy because you go to the base area where we have our little uphill skin track and like there's you see people of all ages of all skill levels just like hammering like all the time and it's kind of like it's actually it's very inspiring to see, man, you know, and it kind of motivates you a lot, so it's
Oh,
very
sure.
cool.
Dude, there's nothing better than like seeing like just everybody getting after it, right? From a community perspective, because it
Oh,
just kind of, yeah, it gives you the sails, it like puts the wind in the sails to like train harder and improve, right? It's crazy.
dude, it pushes you, man, you know, like a lot of people and honestly like a lot of people kind of like they feed off each other, you know, especially like here, you know, because in the wintertime it gets really brutal here. You know, it gets like crazy cold. Like we're usually like the second coldest place like in the country besides like Duluth, Minnesota or something, you know. So the community kind of like in the wintertime really just kind of comes together and kind of gets after it because a lot of the people are really kind of like trying basically organically training for the GT, you know, and they kind of just are just getting after it every day. So it's a really cool like community kind of just to be around, and it's really motivating.
Yeah, that's beautiful. We'll get more to it. I think for starters, let's get into your story. Like I want to talk about you. I mean, dude, last year it was Cirque Series A-Basin. Like you went and beat the greatest trail runner of all time in Joe Gray, and then like you beat a lot of dudes. Like you
Mm.
showed up and shocked the hell out of people. Obviously, Dylan noticed it. You were on free trail, and then there was this like groundswell to kind of get you to some of these other ground or Golden Trail Series races, and like kind of put you on the map. That's how I found out about you. Obviously, a lot of people from the Gunnison Valley and Cade Michael as well, like sing your praises and like we're like you have to have Joan DeLeon on the podcast. But dude, I'm just so curious. Like, I want to hear about your story, man. Like, talk to me about growing up in Texas, like your relationship with running, and like how you ended up in like the greater Crested Butte area.
Yeah, man. So I kind of like, I mean, organically, I've kind of always been really, really running, you know, and it's always been like a thing, like just a thing to do. Like even when you play soccer, you play like in Texas growing up, like you play every sport, you know. And then, but one of those sports, especially in Waco, is summer track, you know. Like no matter what sport you do, whether you're a football player, basketball player, baseball player, in the summertime, like you got to do summer track, you know, and it's such a big thing. So I've kind of like had some really good, awesome like mentors on my side because a lot of the coaches in Waco for Team Waco, the summer track, are the Baylor track and field athletes. So they're like folks that they've been there, they've lived like they lived the inner city life like that I've lived, you know, and they so it was cool like having good role models as a young kid, you know, and them showing. So um and kind of just really stuck with it, like with running, and did it every summer until I was like, I think I like 12 years old, from like being from 6 to 12, and then and you know, it wasn't until I was like 15 that I started just like to progress really well in running naturally and get to like, you know, made regionals in high school and track and stuff, and then and my mom specifically, she was a runner growing up, and she was like obviously saw this ability, and then really thought it'd be really nice to just like invest more into it, and saw that I was willing to be more dedicated to it, and so we like sought after a coach, and then I found a coach in high school, legendary coach named Chris Schrader, and then and then it was kind of crazy because no one in my family had really gone to college before. So when I met Chris, he was like, "You're going to college like for this, and we're gonna get paid for it, and that was kind of the thing that really kind of made me just really stick to it and really dial in, even at a young age, and yeah, I was able to just like ball out in high school, did really well, like won a state championship and stuff, and then was able to get school paid for, and then in college, like had some awesome coaches too, and met Cade, my best friend Cade Michael, and then and when I was getting ready to graduate from Texas State, it was kind of funny because Cade was a year below me, and he was getting ready to our coach had left, and he was like, "Oh man, I need to look." Like he was looking for a new school to go to, and found Western, and I was getting ready to graduate, and he was like, man, like you don't really want to go back to Waco, man. You just come crash up for a bit and see how it goes, and then kind of just 5 years later, I'm like still in the valley. So I mean, but it's kind of crazy the how it all worked out, But I'm very happy how it worked out.
It's a beautiful place to live, man. It's like one of the most beautiful places in the country,
Oh,
Crested Butte and Gunnison Valley. Like it's crazy.
it's a fairy tale land for sure, man. Like it's really remote, and like me growing up like surrounded by just noise all the time, like it's crazy. You go to Crested Butte and like people are driving like under the speed limit, everyone's taking their time, it's like it's a really cool, like no one's in a rush. They're blasting Grateful Dead or something, and just kind of like really just in their own little world, So it's a really cool, like
It's a different
it's really
pace of
cool,
life. Yeah.
different pace of life for sure, man.
Let's talk about college, man. I want to dig into like your collegiate years just because I know you had a lot of success there. Like first of all, what events like did you specialize in on the track and like get like maybe more into like your experience? Like did you enjoy your experience? And like a lot of people really struggle. It
Mhm.
sounds like you were the opposite. Like you didn't struggle at all. So maybe talk about that.
Yeah, so I had like I kind of did everything from literally like the 800 all the way to the 5K. Like if you had an Indian cross country, obviously you get up to the 10K, but my coaches were really big about just like being strong, like middle distance runners, and that kind of like gravitates to being like a stronger kind of distance runner, and then also being quick on your feet for doing like a little bit like mid distance stuff. Um, my coaches were really focused on like winning like conference championships and stuff. So I was never really dialed in on one specific event, We were running like, we were scoring points. So we were really dialed in and running multiple events throughout the year. And I was always just like really like a like disciplined and stuff like that, and really bought into training no matter who my coach is. So I feel like it always like um, I never really had a problem with like even with different coaches in training and stuff like that because I was always really bought in and like very obedient to what was going on. So, and I think that really helped me like have success, um, especially later on in college and figuring out and trying to balance school life and stuff. But yeah, man, I kind of just did all types of events, which I think kind of like helps now because I enjoy doing longer stuff, but then I also like naturally kind of just been from doing the mile all the time, like and doing 800s and 5Ks and stuff, kind of have that natural speed, which I'm pretty blessed to, to have. So yeah, just pretty thankful for that.
That's crazy, man. What a cool experience, like to be able to like run at such a high level in undergrad. You didn't bury the lead there with Cade Michael. Cade's a friend of the pod. We've had him on before.
Yeah.
I'm curious. What a good guy. And big shout out. He just got his him and Andy just knocked off that Gold Hill FKT. I think it was today they just announced it, which is pretty amazing. But what was your experience and like relationship like with Cade, like as your boy? Like what was that like running with him? And like I don't know, like it seems like you guys have a very special like friendship.
Yeah, man. So like Cade is very like he's a very disciplined like and very passionate person about like just running in general. You know what I'm saying? Like when I met him, like, he isn't like he was running crazy high mileage and stuff like that. And like that was just something he loved, man. You know what I'm saying? And I was complete opposite. Like I did like lower mileage and was just never a high mileage guy. But from like, my perspective, it was always sick and inspiring to see him kind of just like get after it, just because he loved it for what it was, and even like in college, it was sick because we would have like in San Marcos, we have little trail networks and stuff around, and he's not a poser, man, when it comes to trails. Like he's been like kind of running trail races and stuff like that since he was like a freshman in college and stuff. So he was kind of the original person that really kind of like got me into trying, running different stuff, because I mean, I grew up like in a concrete jungle, we just ran roads, and like, and sidewalks and stuff. So, and if you found a dirt road, it was a gold mine, so when I was with Cade training and stuff, he had such like a diverse, like look at it when it came to just like picking spots to run and stuff, and I was like, not necessarily closed-minded about like where I wanted to run, but he was just really open-minded about a lot of stuff and checking out new spots and stuff. And I thought that was like the coolest thing ever because I had never really experienced that. Like I always saw when we were in track and stuff, like even growing up, like my coach Chris Schrader was like only allowed us to run on grass. So when I was in high school, I like made a grass loop around like a baseball field and stuff and ran that every day, even though it was a 1 mile loop. So when I got to college and like, you know, get to hang out with this dude who's running like 120 miles a week, obviously he's not doing that. You know what I mean? So it was really, really cool. Really great homie, man. I'm happy to hear him like and see him do some really big things, because he works really hard. Like, he's been working really hard for a very, very long time. So he deserves it.
Dude, big time. Well, you know what? I can't sing his praises enough. Like whatever brand picks him up over the next year, like fucking really lucky to have him. Like I'm excited for him. Let's talk about you, man. Let's talk about the trails. Like what turned you on to the trails? I mean, like I said, the first race that you popped onto the scene for me was A-Basin, but like I'm pretty sure you've been putting in a ton of hard work before then. So talk to me about your relationship like with the trails and, kind of what gets you excited there.
Yeah, man. I mean, like I was really burnt out with running, honestly, like when I graduated college and when I moved in with Cade at the Western like cross country house. And it's only because I had some really hardcore like old school type coaches like pretty much my whole life. And like mentally like I was very kind of like burnt out with it. Absolutely like grateful for everything that running has brought into my life and stuff, but when I moved to Gunnison in the valley, like I had no idea what the heck like public land was or like if or like open space like mountains. Like I didn't know you could go over there. And like the community was just insane. So like they quickly informed me that I was able to go run pretty much wherever I wanted, and it was a really cool like um essentially feeling of just being so like free, and being just clear in the mental, and the one thing about like living at the Western Cross Country House was like even though I said I was done with running, like Cade never let me like he would never let me not run. He'd be like he would actually convince the Western team to run the house that we were living in to pick me up to drag me out off the couch and then go run with him, and like me being like um, so just like competitive and stuff like that, and just loving the grind. I would go out for these like once a week 20-mile long runs with Cade, and then just like put myself through the Sufferfest uh and get into that, and like through that was just like finding all these beautiful trails, man. And it's just like a totally polar opposite thing that I've ever experienced. So like it was just immediately like, man, this is sick. I'm not running in ovals all the time, um and then kind of just organically just really just kept that spark and that love for it. And I always like I think because I've been doing running for so long, it's kind of just become part of my life instead of me looking at it as like I need to train really, really hard. I think like naturally I'll like train stuff. So that translated to like, man, let me see how fast I can get up this, bag this peak or run this whole route and stuff. And still like I'm still the same way, man. I'm still kind of just getting after it. I was like obviously like a lot of people only saw me at A-Basin,
Yeah.
but and for the first time. But like I had been like truly like kind of putting up some nice times up some peaks, and wouldn't really post on Strava. I always kept it low key, so people wouldn't see it. I wasn't really about like the attention and stuff. So, and also like I work so much, and like having time off and then like paying for race fees and stuff kind of was just like kind of a hassle. So I always just like, if I ever made a race appearance, it was pretty rare. Like I honestly made time, like, got time off work. So I always took it pretty seriously if I ever showed up on a start line, So, uh, yeah, man.
Let's talk about A-Basin. I didn't want to get too deep into 2024, but like, damn, dude, like, talk about like beating your heroes in a lot of ways. Like, it's so interesting to me because like, Joe's this mythical creature of a human, right? Like, and there's so many, Patrick, like there are so many like world-class world dominators there. And like, you're up there in the mix with these guys. And like a lot of people was like, who is this guy? Like, like obviously, unless they knew who you were, like, where does this come from out of nowhere? Like, what was that race like? What did that mean to you, dude? To like go and beat the goat and like just like have like a phenomenal day out there. Like, what did that do for you?
Yeah, man. So I honestly like didn't. I was originally gonna run Imogene, but then which was that same day, and
I would have liked that because Taylor would have had a little someone to choose.
Yeah,
From. There you go.
I actually saw Taylor. Like not that long after that, and I think he had heard that I was gonna go, so he was like, "Oh man, this should be sick," but I didn't end up going because they rerouted the course, unfortunately, and so I like signed up the night before and like booked it that morning to A-Basin, and kind of was just like I'm fit, like I've done, like no one obviously knows what my like skill capability is, but I know where I'm at, like I know, and so I was just and honestly I just wanted the bag, man. I saw like $1,000 for winning, and I was like, that this would be sick if I just like go after it and try to win it, and then I kind of like showed up to the starting line and was like, oh man, there's some heavy hitters here, but at the same time, like I've always been told, like, no matter like on any given day, man, anybody can be beaten,
Oh, yeah.
like whatever they've done in the past is a really cool thing, but that's in the past, like today they have to show up and perform, so as soon as the like gun went off, like I was just feeling really, really, really good, and just really kept like just was really Mamba mentality, like eyes up, just looking who was in front of me, and just really getting after it, and like me being a competitive person, I'm like really bummed I lost, but then after finding out like who I lost to, like I don't really do much research into like many runners in general. So it was really crazy getting informed after, about like who was in the race, like, who I beat and stuff. So and seeing how like people were super stoked for me. Like it was a really, really, really awesome feeling. And Cam Smith actually came up to me after the race and was like, dude, you just did something really big, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, he was like, I don't know if you know this, but like you did something really big for yourself. And like this is a big change. It's a big moment for you, like you should know that. And I'm like, oh, you think so? And he's like, yeah, dude. Like, what do you mean? So it was really, really cool. I had like the training that I had done all summer, um, essentially kind of like perfectly led up to that point. I mean, I hadn't really the summer before that I was in Gunnison, so I was doing a lot more like single track, like trail running, and it was a little bit more faster. But I moved up to CB um the winter after that summer. So a lot of like this past summer was more of just like bagging peaks and then really kind of like getting faster on the vertical than more of just focusing on the speed. So and that kind of showed when I went to Golden Shell Series, which was really humbling and really awesome to experience, and to kind of see where the standard is. And that's kind of like what I really wanted to experience. I had to experience like where, like obviously at A-Basin, I got to experience like, the Patrick, or Joe, like really hammering the uphill and then hammering the downhill. But those like 18-mile races, I hadn't really experienced that before. So it was really cool to see that part, a couple weeks after that.
Yeah. We'll talk about that in a second. So A-Basin, like to have Cam Smith, who's, Cam's amazing. He's your favorite runner's favorite runner. Like to me, like he's an amazing dude, but like future Olympian, probably like for someone like that to come up and be like, yo, dude, like you just did something huge for your career. I don't know. I think it's amazing. Like, and just to like think about like who you beat on that day, dude. Like there was some dudes out there. So yeah, it's pretty incredible. What was it like to you when Dylan just like, I don't know if you were familiar with Free Trail before, because like that's like kind of like, I don't want to say the standard in the sport, but like that's the biggest media brand in the sport right now. Like for Dylan to approach you and be like, hey, like, sing your praises and have you on and like have you talking about the race. Like, what was that experience like? Was that a little like surreal for you?
Yeah, I hadn't really done much like digging into like the free trail before then. Obviously, like I had heard it. I had heard of it and stuff like that. But it was pretty cool, man. Like, you sometimes you don't really know like how awesome people are until you have conversation with them and they tell you like what they've done. You would never even have known that until like you've had the conversation with them. And so the more I like got to talk to him and and learn about like who he was in the sport, the more I was like, man, this is like an actual honor to be like your history, man. You know what I mean? Like, like he's kind of cool because I mean it's kind of cool how he's kind of was in the middle ground between like back when people were doing ultras with no money, and then he's kind of like was in the transition to seeing where it is now, and this part of his career. So it was a really awesome experience just talking to him. Like, and I wanted to come up to him before he even introduced me because I saw his shoes. He had like I later found out they were Speedlands, and I was like, man, those are gnarly. Like I need to go figure out what the heck those kicks are. Like double boa, like what's going on with that? So I like went up to him, was talking to him, and I was like, yeah, these shoes, man. And he's like, dude, first off, he's like, what's your name? Like I just saw you kick butt. Like it's a pleasure to meet you. And I was like, oh, thanks, man. This is cool. But yeah, very super, super, super cool person. Obviously he's seen a lot with the sport and and they're doing awesome things over there, man. It's really cool. Like I like what they're doing over there. It's really awesome.
Oh yeah, man. Dylan's the standard, like first ballot Hall of Famer as a runner, and then like now what he's building is crazy. Where I was leading to that was you're headed out this week. You're gonna go race his race, the Big Alta 28K. You pumped for that, man? Like what's how's the fitness feeling? Like you ready to go shred it up in California?
Yeah, man. I was pretty kind of like conflicted on like how training was going, mostly because I had never really like ran on a treadmill like that before, but that was one of the things that like I knew I had to do, like especially when the temps dropped like to the 20 belows like up here. And so I was really just like dialed in and really getting after it. But like I've always been iffy about treadmills. I really don't know why. Like it's like an awesome tool to train and stuff like that. And but had some really awesome weeks these past 3 weeks, like outside, like doing some really good running to kind of just see where I was at. And I honestly like I'm beyond stoked. I know there's going to be like some really heavy hitters up there and it's going to be really competitive. So I'm really stoked to kind of see where the fitness is like right now. I know like I don't have to be the fittest right now, but because it's a long year, man. Like I have so much respect for people that really get after it and grind and put heavy miles in during the wintertime. But I've always just been like, like I look at it from like the whole year perspective instead of like the first few months. So I'm really stoked, man. Like I know actually when I was in California, I went on a run with Dylan and that race like takes place essentially in his backyard, man. It's like it's insane, and these crazy just punchy fire roads. I thought it was the coolest thing. Like 360 views you see of just the bay and everything is just really surreal. So I'm super pumped to be out there and see the scenery and stuff like that, but also just like even more stoked to feed that competitive spirit I have, and hopefully we have a good weekend, man. I'm like manifesting it,
Oh, I love to hear that, man. I'm so pumped for you, dude. Like there's going to be, I'm excited to see like this, like this is probably going to be the first matchup with you against like Dan Kurtz, who's like,
man,
one of the best in the sport. High pedigree from a collegiate level, and like Brooks runner, like he'll be out there running the 28K. I'm trying to remember who else. There's going to be quite a few. Like the competition in the 28K is going to be deep. So I'm excited to see you mix it up with those guys and get after it, man. Like it's going to be like a good little prelude to Sunapee and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm beyond stoked. It's gonna be sick.
let's talk competition, man. I know you just said like I wanna feed that competitive spirit. Like, what's your philosophy on competition? Like, how do you view it?
Um, like what do you mean? What do you mean on
Like,
competition?
are you like, so I've heard the best way I could put it, and this is actually a Cade Michael story. He told me, he talked about Taylor, how like Taylor's like one of the most competitive humans he's ever met in his life. Like Taylor will lock himself in a room and like come out when he's ready to destroy you. I always really liked that analogy just because like you don't meet too many psychos like that. So to me, it's like, all right, on the scale of 1 to in like psycho, like where do you land on the scale from that for competition?
I think I'm pretty psychotic about it, which is why I think I needed a break like after college, which I ended up never getting because obviously like Kate got me back into running and stuff. But I like think about things a lot, like I only need to experience something kind of one time competitively to kind of just like remember that forever. It's kind of funny because like when this is kind of crazy, but so one of the first trail races I ever ran was this like small little like trail race. I guess it was like a USATF thing in Colorado Springs, and Joe Gray kicked my butt by like 12 minutes in that race. But I like literally got done, and Kay was actually at the finish line. He was like, man, like, like you just raced Joe Gray, and I was like, yeah, he kicked my butt, I was like, but like, I'm gonna remember this, like, I don't know when the next time I'm gonna race, but I'm gonna think about this a lot, and then so it's kind of funny because I like just kept telling him, I was like, dude, next time, I see Joe, like, I need to be ready, whatever. And it's kind of funny because fast forward to A-Basin, I was on the starting line, and as soon as I looked to my left and I saw him, I was like, oh man, like this is it, man. I don't know what I have to do in this race, but I know this guy next to me, like he's public enemy number one to me right now, so like I like so obviously like that's I guess kind of sums up my competitiveness, like and that's kind of how it's been like all winter.
Yeah.
Like it's been more of like a Rocky Four, like training to fight the Russian type thing, training summer.
Oh
So
man, I like that.
so
I
it's
like that.
been really fun. And like I don't really like put out any of my, I guess sometimes I hop on Strava and I post stuff, but a lot of times I just like to lay low and kind of just really just dial in myself and then write about it and reflect on it. So and so yeah, from a competitive standpoint, it's like we're my like high school coach Chris Schrader used to always like we would show up to practice on Sundays and he was like, and he's an Australian dude, so he was like, I watched this bloody video. You guys need to watch it. He was like, it was a lion attacking like a deer or something like that, and he was like, and that's what I want you. That's what I want, So like that's kind of where how I've always looked at it in front of like obviously we're all friends and we're homies, but as soon as we step on the line, it's kind of like okay, now my job here is to absolutely destroy you.
Right. It's conflict and conflict resolution. Yeah.
Like
I love it.
yeah. Like I love you so much, but right now this is business right now, so I'm sorry.
Did you share? I know because Joe's not super talkative on a start line after the fact, unless like it goes really really well. Like, did you guys share any dialogue after the race by any chance, or no?
Nah, man. He kind of. I wish I would have talked to him more a little bit, but he I guess he had to do his thing.
Yeah.
He got out of there. So it was but next time I'll have plenty of opportunities.
Yeah.
He did tell me he loved baking, which was cool. I was like, man, I like baking too, man. We need to talk more about baking,
He loves to bake, he loves to cook. Yeah, he's like, dude, he's a really interesting guy. Like when you get to know him, like one of the most interesting people in the sport, like super complex. Yeah.
Yeah, I also just admire like, like that guy, man, like to be like at that level for that long, you know what I mean? Even to the where he is now, like that is like something that just like I have the utmost respect for. You know what I mean? Because like time and time, like he shows that he's just like no matter who's on the starting line, he still is the guy. You know what I mean? And like and really just like seeing him kind of dig into the well and then really do that, I'm just like, man, like this is the standard like we need, especially for the future, like of us like up and coming people coming up, man. Like we need to keep that spirit alive. Like, like he truly just wants to dominate, and that's an awesome thing to see, from a competitive side.
Dude, he's the ultimate, like this is the thing I love about him. He's like the kindest human, but like the ultimate competitor. The thing is too, is like, to your point, like he's got to be 41 now, something like that. So like to do this that long and like beat up on the young studs that come into the sport on a consistent basis and do this for like 15, 20 years, like however long he's been doing it, it's crazy, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's amazing longevity. Yeah, I don't think anybody will ever be able to do that again. Like I think because the sport
No.
is getting so competitive, like I don't think that type of career will ever happen in our sport again for sure. Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
He's one of a kind, man, for sure, man. He's one
Yeah,
of a kind.
yeah. So now I love that singing the praises there. All right, let's pivot a little bit. We talked about competition. What was it like for you then? Was it like humbling and like a really cool experience to have so many people like get on like you were like this figure that everybody got behind on free trail to like, like I don't know, what did we like tried to get you off work and then send you to go race the Golden Trail races at Mammoth and in the Bay Area. Like what was that like, dude? That must have been crazy and like super like cool.
It was, it's kind of funny because I did not, because I'm not really on social media like that, so I honestly didn't really know much about the GoFundMe thing until like I think my grandma called me like a day later and was like super emotional. She was like, "Oh my God, like mijo, like all these people are showing like so much love to you, like you have you seen it, And I was like, "No, like I have no idea what you're talking about. Like what are you talking about, And then I saw and was like, "Man, like what the heck is going on right now, Like this is insane, And so it was a very like wholesome feeling, like that's a cool, it just shows you kind of how like cool the community is
Yeah.
with not just running, but just like ultra running and trail running, and how people are so supportive and really caring, and everyone's like super kind of just like in love with what's going on like with the sport and like what's going on with like the community in it, And so to see people like truly just rally like that, and even see like my community at work kind of rally around me and really just like be super supportive, and like I said, I've never really like, especially at work, in the valley, like I've never really told anyone that I was really like out here like running like that, So they found out kind of like out of the blue and they were like, what the heck's going on? So they immediately were just like super supportive um and just really down for me to just go do what, a lot of folks really wanted me to go do. And then I was super pumped to really get to experience that. It was super, I'm just like blushing thinking about it now. Now.
Dude,
But it
this is
was a
the
really,
greatest sport on earth, like hands down.
it's and the thing is like the one thing that I was told from a young age about running in general that really just connected, like stuck with me, was like no one sits the bench. It's the one sport no one sits the bench. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone participates, everyone gets playtime. Like you truly get a chance to show like the work that you put in. And so that's what's so dope about like just this sport, like just running sports in general, man. It's like it's the sickest thing to see him. You know.
Yeah, it's the great dude. And I was really happy to see like the community rally and like, next thing you know, you're going to race. What was it like going to the Golden Trail Series? Like that's from a sub ultra perspective, like that's the pinnacle right there. Like even though Cirque Series, it's a little bit, it's a super competitive race and like you literally got to race some of the best competition in the world, but it's a shorter race. Now it's like different going to the Golden Trail where it's everyone, it's like insanely stout. And it's a much different type of distance. Like, what was that like from a step up for you? Like, was that much harder? Like, what did you think of it? Like the whole thing?
It was definitely much harder. There's a lot more that goes into it, like details wise. Like even though the race is like 17 miles, whatever, like you're hauling ass. You know what I mean? You're not like and it was it was crazy seeing the different skill sets of what you needed to like some people are super well rounded, and then some people are really like their area is just mountain aspect. Some people are really fast, they have really like crazy speed, and on the trails and stuff. So it was from like the standpoint of just being in the race, it was really insane kind of seeing like people's strengths, and and seeing like how people use them throughout the race. Because going to like San Francisco, like it was crazy because a lot of that race was like super brutal, and like, but it's fast. But you also like you do a hefty amount of climbing, in general, and it's very punchy. So you saw a lot of like the mountain folks really not do so well, but and then you went to Mammoth and you saw the opposite. Like you saw like mountain folks really just like do really well and really ball out and stuff. But the Golden Trail series was very interesting, just like experiencing it because like it's insane, dude. I feel like you're like in the Hunger Games or something, man. There's like drones everywhere. Like people pop out of the trees and are like running next to you with a GoPro, you know. And I'm like, you know, I was kind of bugging out. I was like, man, this is so insane. Like, yeah, like what, you know. But it's also, you know, like I didn't really know that like um how big like mountain running and trail running was like or is in Europe. You know what I mean? Like how we see the NFL and like the NBA, like that's how they see like these mountain runner folks, you know, over there. So that was also a really, really cool thing to experience. I met a lot of really cool people, like not necessarily runners, but like people that are like in the game, you know, like Jamil from like Air Viper running and like got to hang out with him and have dinner with him and talk to him and learn his whole story and just meet a lot of people behind the scenes that I thought was really, really cool and was able just to learn and experience a lot of the culture, you know, and that's really kind of what I really wanted to experience was more of just like understanding the culture of kind of what was going on, you know, because I hadn't really been kind of I hadn't really seen that, you know, kind of just really always just been stuck in the bubble up in CB. So
Yeah.
it was,
How did that did it readjust your goals at all? Like now that you've gotten like exposure to some of the biggest sub ultra races like on the planet, like how did that set you up for 2025? Like now I didn't expect you to see on a start list for Big Alta and now you're going to that. And like, how did that readjust like what you had planned for this year?
yeah, so it really like I had to take a step back and really like essentially just like I don't mind like I'll build Rome and I'll build Rome, you know, but I don't mind burning it down and just to rebuild it again, you know, like every single year. I just kind of took a step back and like really needed to like reflect on like what I needed to do. And I had been like when one of the first things was really just like finding a coach. Like I really had to find a coach, and I had been on a quest for a coach for like a year, like or two, and but and like it kind of came in waves. Like oh, I want a coach, and then I'd like start skiing or something, and then really just forget about it, and then I'd come back to it and stuff. So that was one of the main things, and was really on a hunt for a coach, um, and just really just work on structure with training. Like a lot of my training was really spontaneous. You know, it was like, oh, today, like let's go run this. Let's run Red Lady here in Crested Butte. You know, or like let's go run this. You know, so I really needed to like essentially take the step forward to kind of like take it a little bit more. Now, I always take competition seriously, but like take it a little bit more. Seriously and focus on it a little bit more. So, you know, found the Hemmings, you know, the Hemmings hit me up and were like super willing to coach me and they were really down for it. So and and then really kind of just like do more research into what because I do honestly like the data that I get for racing is from like Jeshurun Small, like or like Cade Michael, you
Yeah.
know. Like I don't know anything that's going on in the running world. Like it's like, oh what and I was always curious on like what races to do to like go essentially like race good competition, you know? And so having someone like having mentors to really kind of like essentially show me and make a blueprint for me, like that's really what I needed to have. Because I mean, at every point in my like running life, like every time that I've wanted to take it to the next level, you know, I've always had an awesome mentor to really kind of help me along in the process. So, you know, that's kind of where so finding the coaches and then really working on training and actually like, you know, looking forward into the future and planning out stuff was a really big thing for me too. Cause like I said, I never really like planned out for races or anything. It was always like so and so tells me to sign up for this race and it's me begging the race director to let me in and sometimes they let me in, sometimes they don't, you know, and that's kind of how I end up racing. So that's kind of how it's kind of how I've taken the look towards 2025.
Nice. Dude, in your build up for Big Alta and like since you've gotten more structured, Have you started to see some like noticeable changes in yourself, like seeing the improvements that you want to see? Or because I know it takes some time, but like I feel like for someone of your caliber, like that good, like it just takes a few tweaks and bing bang boom, you're ready to rock and roll. Like
Yeah. So I definitely with the Hemmings, like we worked on a lot of like, because like there was no way I was gonna run 100 miles or something, like that on the treadmill in the wintertime. It was more of just working on the craft itself
yep.
and like the biomechanics and and really dial in on like the things that we can work on like now. So like, and then because in the summertime, like summertime is the perfect time to really just crank up and really pound the mileage and do more volume. But we we did a lot of like kind of like faster stuff and speed work and really dialing on that and like and that was the flaw that like because not this summer but the summer before that I really was in like fast shape wise. Like I probably could have like run really fast in the 5K on the track, like done some really fast road races. But this past year was more of like a high altitude, like vert type situation. And then so I lost that, like honestly, like and it showed when I went to, to Headlands and Mammoth and stuff. So this winter we've really just been working on like working on the speed aspect of it, and it's really been showing like recently, like especially and we've been hitting some really sweet runs and some fast pace stuff like up at high altitude. So I'm that's what makes me really stoked because I was like, man, like this is something that I like really just I got exposed of into races, and I really need to focus on this. So
Yeah.
I think we'll work on that first, and then kind of we'll focus on other stuff like later on. So.
Dude, they're awesome, man. I used to work with the Hemmings, and like they're some of the best in the game, like easily, like awesome people, and like can't sing their praises enough. Like they coach quite a few of my really good friends, so yeah, they're awesome.
Right on, man.
Yeah. All right, dude. So let's talk season for 2025. We already talked Big Alta. We kind of alluded to Sunapee. So you are confirmed to be going out to Sunapee, right? Like that's the plan.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Man, I'm so excited to see you in the mountain running champs, dude. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm super stoked on it, and just to get to experience like the Northeast. Like I was saying earlier, like I have a lot of homies here who are from like Vermont and like from Connecticut, New Hampshire area, and like I've never ever been to the East Coast, like the Northeast, like that, and like they just tell me so much about it, and I'm like beyond stoked, which is why I'm probably gonna like just crash out there for like another week and then follow up and do the Canon Cirque Series race because
hell yeah,
it's just like it's kind of just like a why not, like why wouldn't you do that, to experience it and really get to just see see what the East Coast has to offer because dude there's a lot of good folks that are coming out of the Northeast right now, and it's like showing that there's obviously something there.
Oh yeah,
that's like building these beasts, man, they're performing super well. So I need to get some beta, man. I need to check it out. I really had to check it out myself. So
at Big Alta, you got to go find. I don't know if you've raced him before. Remy LaRue, he's another one. Dan Kurtz.
Okay.
Like, there's so many guys from the East Coast that are going to be out there that are like just world class. Like some of the best. A couple of them are on the Brooks team. Like there's a lot of dude. The East Coast is like, and the other thing too is the mountain races. Like now that the Cirque Series has kind of come in there, like. You mix that up and you kind of look at some of the mountain races they have with the Cirque Series, and now it's like you could do a whole season on the East Coast and like have some serious competition. Like I've been looking at it, I was like, wow, like there's Cranmore Mountain Race, like there's quite a few really solid, like legitimately like competitive mountain races out there.
Yeah, man, and it's like, it's just super. It just sounds like super technical, like trail wise over there, and like really kind of hardcore. And like one of the things like my homies always tell me there's like no switchbacks on the East Coast. So they're just like, dude, no, like you guys have switchbacks over here. We don't have switchbacks on the East Coast. So it's like, so I'm just stoked to really kind of just get thrown in the grinder, man, over there again. It's really gonna be really sweet to see.
Yeah. I'm excited for you. So what else do you think you're gonna have on the calendar besides Cirque Cannon and Sunapee? What do you got planned?
Yeah, I'm on the wait list for Broken Arrow, like, and I'm honestly like really not really sweating it that much, but because there's like a Golden Trail Series race that's in Mexico.
Yeah, go do that one.
That I would really love to go do, and really kind of be pretty fit for and show out for that. And then in July, like probably gonna just like I don't know, like Colorado like the best place to be in July, if I'm being honest with you. You know, there's just like especially Crested Butte, man. Like there's just gonna be wildflowers everywhere and like really awesome, probably be a really awesome time to kind of go after a lot of FKTs in big
Dude,
mountains.
go win Kendall, man. Go after Jim Walmsley's record on Kendall.
That's true. That's true.
That's a
Like, I could,
sick mountain race.
yeah.
That's like
Silverton's a sweet place, man.
that's
You
right
know?
down the road from you. That's not too far at all. So
Yeah, that was something that was on my mind, but you know, we'll just have to see. Like, you know, honestly.
I'd like to see the matchup between like you and Mason Copey. Like Mason's a monster, so it'd be cool to see.
Yeah, man.
That
He's a
go
beast
down.
too, man.
Yeah. So all right, so sticking around Colorado, and then what do you got planned for August and September?
So August, like trying to get into some of the Golden Trail Series races like in Europe.
Okay.
You know, we'll see how that goes. I heard there's some like Sierra Sanal is like a little tricky to get into. But I'm hoping like, you know, we have early success on throughout the year and then it can translate and really kind of do you know, we can probably get into that. And then I'll be in Chamonix for like team camp and stuff and just to experience that. I'm not in OCCs or anything like that, so but just be a really cool experience to kind of like just be there and kind of see what the culture has to offer and you know see the Hemmings race and see a lot of the homies race and stuff. So
talk about this. What do you mean by team camp? Like what's going on there? What do you got planned?
Yeah, man. So like yeah, I'm on like the Satisfy like pro team.
Oh, I didn't know that. When did this happen, dude? Holy shit.
Yeah, it's been really kept on the low. Like we were doing an announcement with
okay, I won't release this until after you make the announcement. But that's
yeah. We're doing an announcement with like with Satisfy and like and Free Trail. They're gonna kind of do that. I was on their podcast like a couple weeks ago. So we're gonna be going to team camp there and then really experiencing like the Valorant culture. And it's kind of crazy because I've never been out of the country. Like it took, you know, 18 years of my life to even get out of Texas. So it's gonna be really cool to experience that and you know see where and just see where like the you know we're all at. You know.
Holy shit, dude! Sick. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I'm not much of a person to kind of like talk about myself, so I kind of just keep. Obviously, it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
You know, and everyone's super stoked. So I kind of I always kept it low key.
Do you want to? All right, I have so many questions for you now. You shouldn't have said
that.
What's
up,
all right, so the first question is, what do you think of the new shoes? Have you gotten to play with them at all? I know they haven't dropped yet.
I have the shoe at the crib right now.
What do you think?
So it's pretty sick, man. Like I definitely, you know, there's like I'm like a shoe dog, man. Like you know, growing up, like just being like surrounded by sneakerheads and stuff. I've always admired like the small little things and shoes and like the specs and stuff. So I like seeing how dialed they are like with everything in the shoe was really really freaking awesome to see. Like I like you know they obviously took a lot of passion into like every detail from the bottom, the upper and stuff and it's a really cozy shoe. Like honestly, like I like I'm gonna wear it. I'm not gonna race it yet, but I'm definitely taking it out to California and gonna be, you know, racing and I mean just running around in it and really ripping around, man. You know, really testing it out. So it's gonna be super sick. But overall, like it's a really comfortable, like really cozy shoe. And I think a lot of people like are actually gonna like it. And you know, that's my honest opinion too. Like, you know, I'm not just gonna say that, you know.
Yeah. No, you're authentic. You're a genuine human. So I take your word for what it is. Dude, how did I'm sure because a lot of people are going to be curious about this. Because Satisfy is like one of the hottest brands in the sport right now. How did that conversation come about? Like, did they reach out to you? Did you facilitate the conversation with them? Like, how did that come about?
So I'm kind of like a hard person to kind of get a hold of.
Oh, I know.
I'm not like I'm never really on my phone like that, you know, and I actually like just got a new phone. Like I had like an iPhone, like a crazy beat up iPhone like 7 for the longest time, you know. So the team manager Logan like essentially reached out to Dylan and was like, yo, like I saw this podcast. I need to meet this, like, I need to know, like, I need to meet this kid. Like, I would love to talk to him about, you know, about a pro running contract and really just seeing if he's down for it or like what he's up to. And so, obviously, like the Bowmans, like, were really stoked for me, and they forwarded my contact information, and I talked to them, and we just really talked about like, and Logan hit me up like the next day, and we were just chatting, and he was talking a lot about like, Satisfy and what they really, what they're were really into, and what they were pursuing, and really like what their goals were, and they're not really like performance based, and which is pretty interesting because like I had all these like, competitive goals and stuff. But I was just really like obsessed with kind of their whole idea and what they were really trying to like, what they were trying to reach as a brand, and I thought that was like, I really wanted to be, I was like, yeah, I definitely want to be a part of this. This is like, you guys are the coolest. This is the coolest.
Yeah.
And I hadn't really heard about Satisfy until like Jamil was wearing like a Satisfy running hat, and I was like, oh yeah, what's that? At Mammoth, and he was telling me all about it, and I was like, oh, that's kind of badass, man. Like I kind of like that. So uh, it was cool, really, kind of learning their approach and really be a part of it. So I'm super super stoked.
I love it, man. I love their like, you fit with them too. Like you're very authentic, and like the scene to come across as a very authentic brand. Like it's this very punk rock counterculture. Like I don't know, like it's how could you not like it? Like it's really interesting. It's a cool like brand story that they're trying to tell. It's ridiculously expensive, I will say that. But other than that, it's sick.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's pretty. It obviously is. It's pretty expensive, but I mean, it's like it's kind of like where we are now with,
Yeah.
running wise, man. Honestly, obviously, I don't expect people to like be dripped out head to toe and satisfy. Like if you are like, I got mad respect for you. Like, your pockets might be hurting, but it's like if you truly want to invest in like a piece or two, then like that's cool to have in your wardrobe, man, to pull it for a run. You know what I'm saying? That's like, you kind of like did more research into what you wanted to buy, which is how I look at it. And,
Yeah.
kind of, and it's cool because it's like when you buy clothes or like buy pieces and stuff, it's like, it's cool knowing you're buying stuff that's like not like, it's not going to come out again, essentially. Like you had this one of one piece that came out this season, and if you take care of it like years down the road, you can really you can show it off, so it's super super cool. And I like, and they're truly just down, man, for the culture. It's not like they're doing their own thing, and that's kind of what I admired, like when I was um when I was with some of them, like doing a little like shoot for one of the collections coming out, and they truly are dialed into what they think is cool. Like they're not trying to ride anybody's wave. Like they're just like, this is what we're into, this is what we like, and like
It's authentic.
that's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not trying to be someone else, right? It's like not trying to keep up with this brand, dude. I gotta be honest with you, like their stuff is really nice. Like I guess I haven't tried the shoe yet. I haven't even like, I've just seen the photos and I was blown away. I was like, damn, they put a lot of effort and a lot of work into that. I think that's going to be a high selling shoe, dude. Their belts are really nice. Like a lot of their shit's like super super nice. So yeah,
it's super cozy too. Like super cozy stuff. It's not like just like BS. Like, oh, it's marked at this price and it's just like it is. Some like crappy made stuff. Like it truly is like it's super cool knowing like, and it shows you on a little tag when you get it. It's like where it's made and what it's made out of and stuff. So I think it's the dopest thing.
That's cool, man. I love it too because I love the fact that you signed a pro contract because that gives you the ability now to kind of have some wiggle room to go race and compete and travel, and now get to see Chamonix and do that. Do you think the reason I ask you is like when actually I'll go two different routes on this. First one is when are you back from Chamonix? When do you come back from that?
So I get back from Chamonix essentially the end of the week of that race. I think it's like the 30th or 29th
of August. The only reason is I ask you is because I want to try to recruit you to come do the Pikes Peak ascent.
I mean, I honestly like, when is it in September?
It's September. Yeah, it's like mid to late September. Yeah, I'm not completely out of that. I could be down and do that. I mean, dude, you got a place to crash.
That's another historic race that's like super sick to be around.
Yeah. I'm on the board there, and like I'm trying to put together like a sick elite field. So we're working on that now. We'll see.
Again, are you running it? Are you doing the ascent or the marathon? Or?
I don't know yet. I probably the ascent, but we'll see. I'm decided. Maybe the marathon. I'm still up in the air. Like September's so late that it's like hard for me to like ever figure out what I want to do. Also, that there's because Sportiva. Like I have to also have a presence at a lot of the Cirque Series races because of Sportiva. So it's like there's also the Crystal Mountain.
Crystal, yeah.
Which is also the same weekend, which I might have to go to. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out like what I'll be doing. So
both super sick races though to be a part of.
My God, I love those races. What was I going to ask you? So when's the announcement going to be made? When are they going to put this out to the world?
It should be pretty soon. I mean, I definitely maybe when I go up to Big Alta, like, it should be like any day now, honestly.
Sweet.
But I'm kind of just waiting. I'm waiting to do their thing. So and they're on their own time. I'm not really sweating it. But they really wanted to like Free Trail and Satisfy wanted to kind of like collab and really because like I said we were talking about earlier, man, like the Free Trail community like has done so much in supporting wise for me. So it's like it was just I thought it'd just be the next biggest thing for them to kind of show some love. So
oh hell yeah, dude, I can't wait for the world to hear it. I'm kind of feel pretty stoked that I got to hear it pretty early. So
man.
We'll put this out right after. Yeah, dude. All right, so we're starting to wind down now. We're at about an hour. I want to get into some questions. I'm very curious to see who inspires you.
Like in the sport or just like outside the sport, or just in general?
You can do in general or whatever. It's up to you. Whatever you're feeling.
I mean, the people who inspire me, man, are just like someone who inspires me specifically. I mean, growing up, I was like growing up in Waco, like obviously Baylor University is there, and like, hooping is like such a big thing. So I always grew up like a Kobe fan, like, and that was a very awesome thing. Kind of see the mama mentality and really kind of just see the work ethic and stuff, but I mean, a lot of people inspire me, man. Honestly, anybody who just gets after it and just like, anytime I see anyone like running or just grinding, I'm always, or just working really hard, like I just really, it doesn't take much for me to get inspired and kind of like be motivated. But yeah, man, like it's super, super, I don't know. I'm always kind of inspired. It's really hard not to be inspired when you kind of live here and surrounded by such awesome people,
Yeah.
But yeah, man, you got anybody that inspires you?
Oh man, dude. I haven't been asked that in a long time. There's a lot of, man, I think I have so many conversations with so many athletes that like, it's hard for me to just put like one out there, to be like, oh, this person, like Cam Smith definitely like blows me away. Like like I said, he's your favorite runner's favorite runner. And like his work ethic is just he's one of those people that like the work ethic just like absolutely astounded me. And just seeing his like ascent and rise and like really trying to become an Olympian, it's an interesting storyline to follow. And just like, I'm just a giant fan of his. A lot of people, man, like all the athletes, it's hard for me to just pinpoint one, but like that was the one because we had talked about him earlier that would just happen to be like in the back of my mind. But yeah, my wife too. Got a shot at my wife. Like she inspires me. She's amazing.
No, heck yeah. I mean, it's an inspiring world we live in, man. It's an even more inspiring sport. So it's like, endurance freaks could be really sick to look up to,
Dude, like I said, it's the greatest sport on earth. Like, man, there's nothing more fun than like training your ass off for something and then smashing yourself trying to achieve.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
like it's just something about that like, so it's funny. We talk about this a lot. Like I'm always, not that I dog on ultra. I have a lot of friends that do ultra and I've ran a few ultras, but like just the difference between sub ultra races and ultra races, like there's just like that component of just like absolutely destroying yourself, but it's a different kind of destroy yourself in sub ultra races than in an ultra race. Like that ability, that hurt, and just continuing to dig deeper and deeper and deeper, like, and how much can you tolerate that pain? I don't know. There's something about that I just,
the well is definitely different in every event, but it's like, it's a different experience. You just have to live it to feel it, it's kind of, you can't really describe it in a way, so.
Yeah. What's oh sorry. Oh,
no, you go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
What's if you're getting ready for a race or a hard effort, like what music are you listening to, man, going into that?
Oh man. Uh I don't know, man. I'm just a Southern kid, so like I definitely listen to a lot of like outlaw country, like a lot of mellow stuff, and like but then I also listen, I love like Outkast, listen to a lot of Outkast, a lot of 90s like rap and stuff. Um Really usually just kind of just mellow stuff for the most part. I'm not much of a person to listen to like really hard rock type thing when I'm trying to get ready for a race or something. Some people like that. They like to get really amped and stuff, but I'm
Yeah.
more of just like a kind of just chill, and so I usually have like, I don't know, like Waylon Jennings or like Willie Nelson in my headphones,
Willie
but
Nelson. I
then
love it.
yeah, man. So I listen to a lot of like Willie Whalen and the boys before races and stuff, and then um yeah, just like really 90s rap, you know.
I can
My
see
like
that. I can see
my
that.
parents were really young like when they had me, so I kind of got to grow up with them and like really just get their flavor,
Are you a
their
Biggie
music.
guy? Like you like Biggie, or who's your 90s rap?
Uh
Tupac, like
I mean,
Boys in the Hood?
obviously I had like Ready to Die on CD and stuff like, but I'm not like, that's not my first pick,
Okay. All
I
right.
definitely I get down with just anything, honestly, New York hip hop. Like it's super sick. Like you got like Gangstar,
Oh
listen a
yeah.
lot of Gangstar. Um, yeah, like the Locks. I don't know, just a lot of cool
Dude, I,
stuff.
I like your taste in music, man. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
Dude, all right. So I was gonna ask you another question. Oh yeah, all right, here we go. I almost missed this one. Do you get nervous on start lines? Like are you nervous at all standing on a start line, or are you a calm person?
Um, I think when I was in college, when I did like the mile race or like the 1500, I was always like I semi nervous, and I kind of get semi nervous like on the start line, but as soon as the race starts, it kind of just all goes away,
Yeah.
you know. Um, I kind of just like I really kind of think about it and like before, and really like take some deep breaths and kind of just like visualize everything. So I don't. So by the time I'm on the line, I've like kind of manifested in my own eyes like how this is gonna play out. So in a way, I'm like, if I just do what I'm supposed to do, then it's supposed to go out. So I don't really get wicked nervous. I think like um I mean this year when we like some of these races like Sunapee, I probably will have some nerves, and just because they're like team qualifications, so there might be a little nerves, but for the most part, man, like I honestly kind of just try to deal with the nerves before,
Yeah.
and kind of really just uh think about it, and then that's it. All I gotta do is like go out there and try my hardest, and then like I've always looked at it as like whether I'm first or last in the race. Like if I go out there, like do what I'm supposed to do, follow a game plan and execute, then whatever happens, happens. Like I can't really sweat it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Let's talk about Sunapee really quick, because something I kind of glossed over. But like, is your goal there? Because you have the ability to go
Mhm.
win a race like that and make a U.S. selection team. Is that a goal, or is it more so just to go race the best guys in the United States?
Oh no, it's a goal. Like
Yeah.
uh I definitely think it's, if you're a sub ultra person, that's like obviously this year is the year that,
Yeah.
making a team is kind of may not be your top goal, but it's one of the goals. I'm not saying that's like my top goal for the whole year, but it'd be like I'm gonna try my hardest to, that's a one of a kind thing to be able to be a part of. So, you know, um I'm kind of obviously on race day, I'm all in on making a team, and and that's definitely something I would like to do, which is kind of what we're really working towards,
Yeah.
training wise and stuff. But like I said, man, it's like June and there's a whole year there's a whole like another second half of the year after that. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's just one race, one part of it.
Dude, I like to hear it, man. Either way, whoever makes it, like we're sending the best U.S. team ever. Like
Yeah.
this
Oh
time
yeah,
around.
man. It's
Yeah.
deep, man. It's super deep. And I'm beyond stoked to really be able to compete and, just
Yeah.
show out.
Yeah, I can't wait to see you on a start line with like David Sinclair and all of these like killers, man. It's gonna be fun. All right, man. So last question I have is always is like kind of a not so super serious one. Do you believe in Bigfoot?
Um Honestly, dude, like Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. There's no way, you know. But I went to first off, where's Bigfoot like where originated from?
I think
You
it's
know,
from
like
all
where's
over, man. Like what do you mean? Like the myth or
like where
like
people where are the like the sightings? Where has he been seen? You know, like
everywhere? But like I'd say so like most like native persons like stories from America like talk about this, like they all have like a story about this like giant hairy dude, which is like, you know, maybe like a remnant Gigantopithecus or something like that, who knows. But yeah, so like they all have a story about some big dude.
yeah. I went to the Pacific Northwest for the first time in my life, like this past summer. And after like being out there, I was like, oh yeah, there's definitely something like a Bigfoot out here, you know, like most def, you know.
It's pretty
There's
remote.
no way. There's no way there's not.
Do you believe in aliens then? Like what's your take on that?
Um, I mean, honestly, for sure. I think like it's just too big out there, man, for there not to be just anything, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, I don't know. My answer is yes for sure. But you know, I definitely. That's a good question. It's a good question.
Oh, it's got
You know,
gives you something.
what about you, bro? You believe in aliens?
Oh, big time, dude. Like they're
Yeah.
here. Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
I don't know.
There's like no way.
I don't know if it's like an alien per se, like from like, all right. So the weird thing is like, dude, we see like these like phenomena in the sky. Like people see them all the time. And it's like constantly talked about. And now there's like government disclosure and they're like talking about that stuff. So it's like, there must be something to it, but it's like, is it like from a different universe? Is it like part of the, like different, like within the multiverse? Is it like interdimensional? Like, oh dude, you can go down a rabbit hole with that. Like it's some
Dude,
crazy
yeah,
shit.
man. One of my like crazy family vacations as a child. We went to like I don't know why the heck we went here, but we went to Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, I've been there.
And
Great place.
dude, we went to this crazy museum, and they have like all the archives of like even the McDonald's is like an alien ship and stuff. And after being, I was like, yeah, dude, there's no way. You know, I'm like looking at these white owl pictures, and I'm like, oh man, dude, that's like alien right there. You know, it's like what the heck.
Dude, I think they're Roswell. If for those of you who've never been there, like listeners, like dude, like hands down, go check it out. It's a different place.
It's a unique spot, man. It's super sick.
That's cool. Well, Joen, dude, thank you so much. This was an amazing conversation. I mean, like, I'm such a big fan, and I cannot wait to see what you do this summer. Like, I'll be rooting for you every step of the way. And yeah, man, congratulations on the new deal with Satisfy, and I can't wait to see where your career goes from here.
Thanks, homie. Man, I can't wait to, you know, I got to pull up on you sometimes, man.
Yeah,
you know?
dude, let's hang, man. You want to come to the Springs? Yeah. Like I said, if you want to do, if you do wind up, like, if you want to go to Pikes, like, let me know. You got a place to crash. Like, would love to have you out here. Like, Pikes it's a cool race. So
yeah, thanks, homie. And it's never a no, man. You know, I'm always down. So it's like,
hell yeah, dude. What'd you guys think? Oh man, what a fun episode. Want to thank Joen so much for coming on. Just having a conversation with me. You know what? Like, I just think, I don't know, you meet some people in the sport that are just like very much genuine and just themselves, not about anything, just like wants to do his thing and enjoy himself and have fun. And like that all shined very through in the conversation. Like he's just I think the word I keep coming back to is just authentic and genuine of a human. So definitely made an impact on me. Can't wait to meet Joen at a start line this year. Maybe we can get him out to Pikes. We'll see what happens. Or maybe not. Maybe he'll be on the World's team, which wishing him the best of luck in his 2025 season. Guys, before you get going, hop on Instagram, give Joen a follow. You can find him at Johen, JOHEN_D on Instagram. Give him a follow. Send him some DMs, although he is hard to get a hold of. It took us like 3 years to put together this episode. And I don't think he can. It was pretty funny. But yeah, no, it was give him a follow, send him some DMs. I'm sure he would love to hear some words and kind words from you all. I think he would appreciate it. So guys, before we get going, tomorrow is our 1-year anniversary for the Steep Stuff podcast. If you happen to be on the Front Range or in Colorado Springs or the general area, pop on into the Colorado Running Company. We're going to be starting at 8 a.m. Nike's going to kick things off with a shoe demo, and you're going to be able to take those shoes out on a group run. followed by some free refreshments and conversation by Ultimate Direction, as well as some giveaways. First 20 people through the door are going to get a free pair of Cetus socks, as well as some nice Cetus discount cards that Cetus hooked me up with. Ultimate Direction is going to be giving away some free packs, as well as a bunch of hats and stickers and all kinds of fun stuff that they have going on. What else are we doing? Like I said, some conversation, some banter, some product demos, and then it's going to be capped off by a conversation, a live podcast in front of the audience with myself and Nike Trail athlete Bailey Kowalczyk. So it should be a blast. Excited to have Bailey on the podcast finally. Should be a good one. And yeah, guys, I hope you guys can join us. It means so much to me. Thank you all from the bottom of my heart for supporting the podcast and, listening to these stories and, just supporting us. So it means a ton. Before we get going, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, wherever you consume your podcasts. And yeah, thanks so much, guys. Have a great weekend.